Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Fate, and today we have a level 50 max guide video for you. We're going to be going over the different currencies in the game to make sure you're not overcapping yourself and wasting time, wasting extra resources you don't need to. We're also going to be going over how to efficiently gear once you get to level 50, and also what you should be doing at level 50 as well. Without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, you should always be in a guild. If you're looking for a guild and you're on the Lazland server, please join the Mando community. We have a whole group of members who are playing on the live release of the game on October 1st, plus some members who've been playing on early access. Being part of a guild will get you guild tokens, which will allow you to spend it on some neat guild rewards. Taking a look at that real quick, we have the guild merchant over here, and as your guild level progresses, you'll unlock further rewards. But at the beginning, what you really want to buy every single day is this rare recovery potion. You want to make sure that you buy that out. Potions in this game are very hard to come by. This is one of the few ways to get them, and it is advised to always buy these. If you are going to be using the cooking feature in the game, which I highly recommend because there are some very useful buffs and potions from the foods and potions that you can make via the cooking. If you are going to be doing that, you need to come to this sundry merchant. They'll be in every city. And what you need to buy are the daily limited items. You need to buy the eggs, the golden rye, and the honey. You need to do this every single day. Otherwise, they are very extremely difficult to acquire, and that will kind of keep you ahead. While you're at this vendor, I also recommend buying these allied resistant contract scrolls. They will help you do more contracts for the week, which are kind of like repeatable quests for currency and items later on. So again, Sundry's Merchant, purchase the daily and weekly limited items every single day. Next will be the pet missions. In this game, they're called Amatoys. To get into the Amatoy house, you have one of two ways. Well, there's probably more ways, but if you do not have them on a mission, you can click this icon down here on your hotbar, and that will teleport you to your Amatoy house. The second way would be an icon near your minimap. It's right here. If you have them out on a mission, that icon will be there, or it will be red indicating the mission is complete, and you can click that, and you can click the Amatoy house to get teleported in here. Once you're in here, this will be a mission board. You can send your pets that you've been collecting out on missions, and they will acquire materials for you. Now, the breakdowns are 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, and 8 hour missions you can send them out on. And as your expedition levels up, you'll be able to send more and more Amatoys out. I recommend doing this every hour while you're online and trying to do the missions that give you the resources you want. Currently, for myself, I'm trying to level up cooking. I need a lot of salt, like a ridiculous amount of salt. Otherwise, I would be stuck in the open world on my own time, farming crabs by the sea, trying to get salt, and those things have terrible drop rates. So instead, I come here every hour, I send these guys out, and every hour I have a chance of getting between 0 and 8 salt. Really great feature. I recommend doing this every hour. Before you log off, though, I would recommend switching this to 8 hour because you're not going to log back in, while you're asleep. So set it for the 8 hour. That way you can check in on it when you do wake up. Next up will be your currencies. Now, this isn't currency in the sense of money, but this is currency in the sense of you needed to do certain tasks in the game. There are 3 of them that you want to keep an eye out to make sure that they are not capped out. They're not at their maximum hold. That way they can still accumulate more over time. The first 2 you can see on your screen right here, right above your mini map. The first one is the dimensional contract tokens. You need these to collect loot from dungeons. In this game, you can run as many dungeons as you want. The game doesn't stop you, it doesn't cap you in that sense. However, at the end, if you want loot from the chest that drops from the final boss, you need to pay money. In this case, you need to pay dimensional contract tokens to acquire loot from that chest. And at the moment, the tier 1 dungeons cost 300 of these tokens per run of a dungeon. So with this, you get 900 every day. That means that you can collect loot from 3 dungeons every day. And this caps at 4,500. If it does get to, let's say, 4,000 and you didn't do any of your dungeons and it rolls over to another day, normally you would have gotten 900, putting it 4,900. However, because the cap is 4,500, you'll only get that extra 500, and that 400 will just fall on the ground in the bucket. It'll just go to waste. Don't do that. Make sure you're running your dungeons every day. Do at least 3. That way you don't have to worry about this capping out on you. The second one is the Abyssal Contract Tokens. In this game, there are open world dungeons. They're kind of just caves or crypts you can go into and do some old school MMO farming. You just kill things over and over and over to collect money, resources, and maybe a chance at some rare items. There are a few of them in the world. Opening up the map here, the first one we're going to go over is this one right here, Temple of Siliveth. We also have Ant Nest. We have Silas's Abyss. And then the one that people really should be going to once they hit level 50 is the Shadowed Crypt. Now, every time you kill a monster in these overworld dungeons, they will consume 1 of these tokens. Sometimes a elite monster with the red skull will spawn in here and they will consume more of these tokens. But just like these purple ones, you want to make sure this does not hit 20,000. You want to make sure it doesn't cap out. Otherwise, you're not accumulating more. So you always want to go to these overworld dungeons and you want to farm out some monsters and get these tokens lower. Now, you don't need to do this. It's not going to make or break your progress or account, but it will help you accumulate resources. Monsters in the overworld, while they can drop the similar stuff to the monsters inside these crypts or these overworld dungeons, they have a way lower chance to drop that stuff. These monsters in these dungeons using these tokens will have an increased drop rate. Once these tokens run out, then those monsters in there will have just regular drop rates. So if you're at 0, there's no point in doing these dungeons. Only do them if you have some Abyssal Contract tokens left. And because it is an open world dungeon, you can go in there by yourself. You can have a whole squad of people in there and just control the entire thing. One last thing to note about these, at night, they are conflicted. During the day, they're fine, they're peaceful, there's no PvP, but at nighttime, PvP is enabled, so be careful. The final one will be contract tokens. Now, right here, we'll talk to this contract manager, Felix. And at the bottom right, you'll have contract rights. Currently, I have 10 out of 60. These will refresh over time, and the cap is 60. Again, with the other 2 currencies, just like those, you do not want to get this to 60. Once it's 60, you will not earn any more tokens. You want to make sure you're doing your contracts every day. Now you're asking, well, what contracts do I do? Because each zone has a different contract manager. At level 50, the ones you want to be focusing on are the ones at Watcher's Post, which is in the northwest portion of the camp or the map, and the Pure Light Tower. I'm at the Watcher's Post right now, so we're going to talk to contract manager Felix again. And he has a bunch of contracts available to us. So you might wonder, which ones do you pick? So follow 2 rules. Well, 3 rules really. First one, try and make sure they're for the same area. This contract manager gives us contracts for 2 different locations. He gives us one for Ruins of Tyranny and one's for Phonos Basin. These are in different spots on the map. If I was mixing and matching and have to teleport back and forth, it's not very efficient. So, that being said, try and make sure that the contracts you pick up are for the same area. Secondly, tier contracts. All of these are tier 1s, indicated by the I or the 1 right above the contract right here. Some of them will say 1, some of them will say 2 and 3, so on and so forth. What you want is to get the tier 2s. If you don't see any tier 2s, get the tier 1s. Third is the items that they give. You want to be focusing on the pouches. They're the last item that some of these contracts will give will have a purple kind of brown sack or bag. If you see that, always pick it up. No matter where the location is, what the tier is, you want to pick that up. Those pouches have a chance of giving you purple items, which is what you want. Outside of the purple pouch, you want to prioritize the ones with these colored crystals. Each color represents a different armor or type of gear that you can use to craft. The red ones being weapons, the yellow ones or orange ones being armor, and the green ones being accessories. You'll need these to craft the growth stones, which will be used to upgrade your gear. You want to prioritize weapons, then armor, then accessories. So in this instance, I have a weapon stone for Ruins of Tyranny, tier 1, no other tier 2s, and that sack is not here. So I'm going to grab that. After you grab one contract, you're able to then refresh this entire list. And what we're going to do is do that because I want to grab another weapon one. You're only going to grab the other ones if you don't see a sack or a weapon crystal on here. All right. So with that refresh, I have another Ruins of Tyranny, and it ended up being a tier 2. Tier 2s have higher rewards. In this case, it unfortunately didn't, but sometimes it'll give you 8, 9, 10 of these stones or these ore. So this matches the zone, and this matches the item that I want. So I'm going to accept that. Now this one also has it, but it's for Phonos Basin. I'm not going to take that. We're going to go ahead and refresh. Here we have another one. Ruins of Tyranny. Again, the weapon. We're going to grab that. We're going to refresh. And here we go. We did end up getting lucky and got that pouch. Now, as you can see, when we open it, we have a chance of getting a purple item. Now, there's other items in there, just to fill it up. Obviously, the developers aren't going to want us to always get a purple item, so they fill it up with some garbage. But no matter what, you want to grab this. So we're going to take that. Now, we also have another Ruins of Tyranny here. I wouldn't recommend grabbing that because what we can do is we can refresh this and maybe get a chance at another contract with another pouch. So we're going to do that. Unfortunately, we did not get lucky. So what are we going to do? We have this weapon one, but it's for a different zone. We're going to ignore that one. Let's see. We have a armor growth zone right there for the zone we're looking for. So we're going to take that. And you can only have 5 contracts on you at a time. Once I complete these 5, I'll come back here and I'll pick up another 5. And I'll do that until I empty my contracts out. And you got to make sure that you do these. They will be super helpful in gearing you up and getting these resources to craft those growth stones. Tying in with those contracts, you will get contract coins as well. They're a reward currency. And what you will be doing with those is you'll be going to a contract coin merchant. They're located in every city. And from here, you want to be buying some items. Now, the items that I recommend that you always buy every single day will be these precious blessing pouch. That's that same pouch we got in one of those contracts. It will cost you 200 tokens. You can get one every day. And you want to get these because, again, it'll give you a chance in getting those purple items. If you do end up farming enough to where you're hoarding 1,500 of them, you could buy this box right here, which gives you the chance. Well, it's not really a chance, it's guaranteed. You can select any of these purple weapons, your choice. So if you're wanting a purple, sword shield and you're getting terrible luck in the dungeons, you can come in here, buy this, and get that purple sword and shield. Everything else in here, not really a priority at the moment. There are some useful items, but starting off at level 50, it's nothing that you really need to worry about. I would mainly focus on this precious blessing pouch. Outside of that, if you are doing fishing, this is the only place really at the moment to get fishing bait, and it costs you 20 of these coins and you get 50 bait for it. And if you are doing it, I would recommend always stocking up on your fishing bait like I have. So to quickly go over that loop again, make sure you're buying your potions from the guild merchant. Make sure you're buying your crafting or your cooking items from the sundries merchant. Make sure that you're not overcapping on your dungeon run currency and your abyssal contract open world currency. Make sure you're doing those 3 dungeons a day at least. Make sure that you're not capping out on your contract. You get 60 of them as a total that you can get up to, so you don't have to do them every day. Make sure that you don't get to 60. And that really will apply to the dungeons. If you don't have the time to do 3 a day, you can stack these up. You get 900 a day, so you can wait a few days, maybe the weekend, and then you can run them all. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure you're not hitting that cap. The contracts, make sure you're spending your contract tokens on those pouches every single day. And also make sure you're sending your pets out every hour while you're online, and then every 8 if you're going to be going to bed or logging off the game for that day. The last thing I wanted to go over, which is a little bit further in depth, are these schedules with the bosses. If you click on this icon to the left right here, and you click on one of these events, it'll pull up the schedule for the day. You can also change it to daily, but hourly is usually the default look. And here it'll tell you what events happen every hour. You have your zone events, which you will need to do some of these for your codex entries, but most importantly, you have these bosses. Now, these bosses can be one of 2 things. They can either be peaceful or they can be conflicted. If they're peaceful, it means that there's no PvP. You can go in there, hit the boss, have a good time with your friends, try and get some loot. If it's conflicted though, PvP is enabled. You will have to PvP for the right to stay in and fight the boss to try and get that loot. Usually these are controlled by the higher end, more populated guilds. They'll have a group fighting the boss, and they'll have the rest of their members kind of circling the perimeter, killing anybody who tries to get close. These happen every few hours. I recommend always trying to go to them and trying to get some loot. If you're not strong enough, if you don't have the gear for the PvP ones, just stick with the peaceful ones. That's perfectly fine. They happen often enough to where you should be okay. And that'll be it, everyone. That will be the guide on how to get a good start once you hit 50 and make sure that you're doing everything you can to stay current and to not fall behind from all the other players. If you have any feedback, you have any comments, anything that I missed, please leave it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This was Fate. I'll see you on the next one.